What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After, the Tell All No Limits Part 1. Now, before we get into that, I just want to talk about real quick. I want to talk about Rebecca and her Sono Bello commercial. Rebecca from 90 Day Fiance The Other Way, and then her husband Zaid ended up coming to America, and they were on one of the 90 Day Fiance, I think, Happily Ever After seasons. So Rebecca's doing this Sono Bello commercial, right? Sono Bello is some type of fat melting, fat burning process where they're supposed to like melt away the fat or freeze the fat or do something to your fat molecules so that you don't have to like diet and exercise. And so she's on this Sono Bello ad. And when they show her before and after, her after picture to me is just her sucking in her gut. And I'm just like, Rebecca, who are you fooling? Who are you fooling? It's just you sucking in your gut. You're not showing any actual Sonobello results. I have no idea if Sonobello works or not, but that after picture, girl, please. Anyway, let's move on. So the tell all begins with everybody arriving at this really big, beautiful mansion that they're all going to be staying in. And like I said in my last review, I really wasn't looking forward to the tell all because it's just going to be a lot of forced drama. And when I say forced drama, I mean the producers are going to do whatever they need to do to create fake drama. They're going to put everybody in the same house under the same roof and make sure that the alcohol is flowing, that the alcohol is readily available, just an arm's length away for everybody. And so then everybody's going to get drunk and then everybody's going to start fighting. And to me, that's like a lot of forced drama. So I really was not looking forward to this tell all, but here we are. So Patrick and Thais are the first ones to arrive. And then after that, Gino and Jasmine show up. And Jasmine shows up wearing her Miss World International Latina sash. Okay, the sash that she got from her little beauty pageant. And I was like, what are you doing? I don't know if she thought she was going to be walking into a house full of people. And, that's why she had on her sash. But it was just Patrick and Thais when she arrived. So she comes in there with her sash, absent the crown. I'm like, if you're going to do the sash, you might as well have done the crown as well. But I guess she forgot about the crown. And the first thing they talk about is how Jasmine was disappointed because Patrick and Thais got the better room, the bigger room. And I'm just like, look, I'm not interested in this whole room assignment nonsense because we get enough of this on The Real Housewives. So the fact that, Jasmine is, pouting about not having the bigger room or the best room, I was like, this is already starting off really bad for me. Really bad. So Patrick throws his wife under the bus when Jasmine complains about the rooms, and Patrick says, "Oh, Thais is the one that chose our room." Completely throws her under the bus, like he had nothing to do with that. Jasmine talks about how she doesn't want to share a room with Gino because they're still having their marital issues, and she gives him an ultimatum. She's like, "If you want to share the same room with me, you're gonna have to have sex with me." And I was just like, this is just the weirdest stuff I have ever seen in my life. So she tells her husband, if you want to share the same room with me, we're going to have sex. And I was just like, this is stupid. This is so stupid. I don't even know what to say about that. And then Patrick is like, Gino, why don't you just, have sex with your wife? Just go ahead and do it already. And of course, Gino's like, well, you try living with her and you try dealing with her because, his whole issue of not having sex with Jasmine is that she argues way too much. All the arguments, completely turns him off and he can't perform, I guess. Soon after that, Emily and Kobe, Ashley and Manuel, they show up at the same time. Emily is extremely pregnant. I think she said she was 35 weeks pregnant. I was just like, my mouth dropped when I saw how pregnant she was. And it's only one baby. Manuel made a joke about how she must be carrying three because she was very much pregnant. As soon as she sat down on the couch, Jasmine and Thais began to massage her legs. And that was like a really cringy moment for me. I mean, I could feel how uncomfortable Emily was when they both, grabbed a leg and began to rub on her legs. And I was just like, okay. Jasmine, okay, so Patrick asks Kobe, how did you get Emily to agree to have a whole bunch of kids? And Kobe says, well, that's just who she is. Kobe, if that's just who she is, a woman who just wants to have a whole bunch of children, then how come every time she ends up pregnant, you and her are completely shocked and surprised when y'all get a positive pregnancy test? And then y'all start worrying about how y'all are going to break it to her parents and she's having yet another child. If that's just who she is, to birth all these children, why y'all always surprised every time she ends up pregnant? So the guys talk about Gino and his lack of a sex life. And Gino, of course, he talks about how, oh, if you only lived with Jasmine, you know what I was suffering. He blames it again on the arguments. So then Liz shows up by herself. Jasmine says that Ed is a bad person and he's ugly inside and out. Jasmine does not see it for Ed at all. I don't know what the history is, or I don't remember the history between Jasmine and Ed, because were they on? No, they weren't on. Ed and Liz were on The Last Resort, but not Jasmine and Gino. So I don't even know what the history is between Jasmine and Ed, but she cannot stand Ed. Liz tells everybody that this is the last breakup, the final breakup between her and Ed. Well, I would hope so, because now you have a new man. So I would hope this is the last breakup. And I don't know what could possibly possess Liz to even consider or entertain the notion of possibly going back to Ed. But she reassures him this is the last breakup. Ed then shows up and he says hi to everybody. He greets everybody. I think he gave everybody a hug except for Jasmine. Jasmine says she doesn't do hugs. And then Patrick, as messy as he is, he says, well, she gave me a hug. So Jasmine just gave Ed a fist pump because she doesn't want to touch him because she's really disgusted by this man. When it comes to Liz, Ed ended up giving her like a very long, extended hug. I mean, they were holding on to each other for like a full minute or more, possibly. I don't know. And Ed was automatically emotional. Like he was crying, the tears were coming down his face, and Liz was wiping his tears, which was, to me, watching someone wipe somebody else's tears, if it's not like your child or let's say your parent or your sibling, it's very icky to me for some reason to see someone wipe somebody's tears. But yeah, Liz was wiping his tears. For whatever reason, he was extremely emotional, probably having a lot of regrets about how he treated her, probably missing her. Realizing that he made a huge mistake by breaking up with her and calling off the wedding. I don't know why the man was crying. So when him and Liz have a chance to kind of be alone, he starts talking about himself and how he doesn't miss San Diego. And Liz calls him out on him being so self-centered. She's like, you don't even ask me how I've been. You're not even like, Liz, you look great. You automatically just start talking about yourself. Moving on from there, Rob and Sophie show up. They show up together. They drove there together, or they rode there together. But when they got to the house, for some stupid reason, Sophie tells Rob, oh, I want you to go in first, and then, give me a few minutes. I'll come in later. And I'm just like, why? She said she was nervous about meeting everybody and seeing everybody. She got really nervous about that. She had a lot of anxiety. So Rob walks in first, and of course everybody's like, where's Sophie? Where's Sophie? Are y'all still together? What's going on? And then Sophie walks in. It's like, I didn't get that at all. So Sophie walks in eventually, and she has her brunette hair, her dark colored hair, which I absolutely love on her. I love it when her hair is darker. And so they're mingling, everybody's talking and everything. And Kobe out of nowhere asks Rob, no, Kobe asks Rob if they're having sex. I'm just completely random out of the blue. He asks Rob, so are you having sex? And I guess maybe because Rob had talked about how they were not together, but I don't know what they said. Something about how they're not together, but they've been hanging out. And I think that's when Kobe asked, well, y'all having sex? And I was just like, Kobe, that's just really like none of your business and, kind of rude, but whatever. So I think the answer to that question was right now they weren't, because she doesn't want to do it with him, but he still wants to do it with her. But in the beginning, he wanted it and she wanted it, but he didn't. I don't know. Rob and Sophie is just a ball of confusion. A ball of confusion. I'm so sick and tired of Rob and Sophie and the fact that they can't make up their minds on what the hell they want to do with their marriage. Michael and Angela did not show up the first night. Everybody was like, is Michael and Angela going to show up? A producer came out and told everybody that Michael and Angela would not be showing up that night. People had a lot of questions. I think it was Alexi. He was like, well, what does that mean? Does that mean that they're refusing to come, or that something is preventing them from coming? Will they be here tomorrow? Alexi had a lot of questions. And the producer was like, I don't know. All I know is they're not coming tonight. Then it's time for the tell all, the first day of the tell all. Everybody's arriving on set. As soon as Jasmine shows up, Jasmine and Gino, as soon as they show up, they're arguing already in the middle of an argument, because the argument started actually when they woke up at the mansion, I guess. I don't know. Jasmine talks about how Gino came into the room while she was getting dressed, and he came in being rude, and he refused to carry her luggage, whatever. So they were arguing. They showed up arguing, and they were still arguing when they arrived on set. Everyone is wondering if Michael and Angela are going to show up for the tell all. Well, lo and behold, here comes Michael. Michael walks in by himself, where everybody is sitting in the back, I guess, while they're waiting to go on stage. So Michael shows up. Everybody's really happy to see Michael. Everybody's so excited. I was almost like they were fangirling over him. They were really excited to see him. He greets everybody, gives everybody a hug. And then they're like, where's Angela? Is Angela going to be here? And Angela shows up, but she just, I guess, went straight into makeup and hair. She went straight into glam. She bypassed greeting everybody. So she goes straight into makeup and hair. And while she's getting her makeup and hair done, here comes Ed. Because Ed and Angela, they're two birds of a feather, right? They're very much alike as far as how they're very, very emotionally abusive towards their partners. So Ed walks into her makeup and hair room, and they're having a conversation about Michael. And Angela's like, I'm not going to let him try to paint me as being the bad guy. I'm going to let it be known that, what he's been up to, how he's cheated on me, how he's done all these horrible things to me. I'm going to tell my truth today, and I'm not going to let him just, get away with trying to be the good guy. And Ed is sympathizing with her. And then Angela talks about how Michael was scamming her this whole entire time. And Ed goes, send him back. Just send him back. Send him back. Okay, so this is my opinion on Michael and Angela. I think that Michael definitely was using Angela from day one. From the first moment he slid into her DMs, I think he had a plan to use this American woman for a green card from day one. That was his plan. He never loved her. He never really planned on, spending the rest of his life with her. He did whatever he had to do to come to America. Point blank, period. Because I could be wrong. I'm not an immigration specialist, but I think when it comes to how a person can gain their status in the United States, you either come in on a fiance or a spousal visa, or you come in on a work visa, or you come in on a student visa. So for whatever reason, he didn't do the student, he didn't do the work. So his only option left was to come in through a spousal or fiance visa. And so I think he was looking for a woman who's going to help him with that. And that's when, he found Angela. So I do think that he was using her. I don't know if she deserves to be used because she's such a horrible person to him. She's extremely abusive to him. Does she deserve to be used by him? I don't know. Some people say yes. Some people say no. I have no idea. But I think that he was using her for a green card. And I think that also she's extremely abusive to him. Now, does she deserve to be scammed? I don't know. Does he deserve to be victimized by her? Definitely not. No one deserves to be a victim to anybody when it comes to emotional, psychological, or physical abuse. That's a big no-no. So, yes. So, Michael, I don't know. We see right through you, Mike. Like, we know what nobody believed. Nobody believed that Michael was like deeply head over heels in love with Angela. Nobody bought that for a second. Maybe Angela did. I don't know. But the rest of us who have functioning brains, nobody believed that for a second. Oh, but I digress. So, like I said, Ed is talking to Angela. He's telling her to send him back if she believes that he was scamming. If she believes that he was scamming her. So Angela joins everybody else backstage where everybody's sitting. They're already dressed up, got makeup, hair done, and they're waiting to go on stage. So Angela shows up in a crown. She shows up wearing a crown. I was like, what? This must be Jasmine's Miss International Latino crown. That's where it was. That's why Jasmine wasn't wearing it. So she shows up wearing a crown. Never gave any explanation of why there was a crown on her head. So she comes in and she sits down next to Michael and she just goes in on him. Like in zero point 0.3 seconds, she just lays it out on him. She's like, what are you doing here? Why are you sitting here? And I'm like, because he's supposed to, because they told him to. Like, damn, Angela, why are you sitting next to him? If you can't stand the man, why are you sitting next to him? So she just starts going in on him. She starts yelling at him. She talks about how they haven't slept together in 2 months. She accuses him of cheating. And Jasmine was asking, I think she was sitting next to Ed, or she's sitting nearby Ed. And I think Jasmine was like, what is going on? Or something to that effect. And Ed tells Jasmine, oh, Michael's using her. Yeah, he is. But let's not forget, she's like a complete monster to him. Now it's time for the actual tell all. So everybody's on stage. We see Sean. Sean greets everybody. And Sean tells us that Nicole and Mahmoud will not be joining us. And there's like no explanation as to why they're not there. I'm assuming Mahmoud had gone back to Egypt, and I guess Nicole, I don't know. Maybe this was when he had gotten arrested. No, he didn't get arrested. Yeah, was it him or was it her? Maybe this was when he had gotten arrested for um DV. I don't know. I don't know. This is just a complete circus. So Nicole and Mahmoud are not there. And the first topic of discussion is, which couples are sharing a bed and which ones aren't. So Jasmine and Gino, they don't want to share a bed. Michael and Angela don't want to share a bed, or they haven't shared a bed. I don't know. Oh, when Jasmine and Michael, I mean, not, excuse me, Angela and Michael, they slept at a hotel, right? When everybody else was sleeping at the mansion, they were in a hotel. And Angela had told Ed that they did not share the same room. So they're not sharing a bed. Jasmine and Gino, I think, are not sharing a bed. And I think Sophie and Rob are not sharing a bed either. So things get rolling with Liz and Ed. So Liz talks about how Ed was on a dating app not even a month after she left. And the reason why this is important to her is because Ed had told her when they broke up that he had no intention of dating anybody else because he has to get himself together first. So those words meant nothing because he was very quickly on a dating app looking for, a woman. Now they talk about what caused their breakup. Was it her temper or was it the spicy taco pasta? So Ed says, first they go back and forth on the whole taco pasta thing. They're both arguing about whether or not it was too spicy for Riley, Liz's daughter, to eat. And Ed says that he didn't make it too spicy. What they thought was jalapenos was actually bell peppers, and that he didn't like the fact that Liz was yelling at him and berating him at the dinner table in front of his family. He felt really embarrassed by that. So then he goes on to say, because Lauren was like, okay, y'all really weren't arguing about the damn taco pasta. What is the real damn issue? So Ed says her temper. Her temper is the issue. I've been hiding her temper for the past, I don't know how long. And what caused me to finally end it with her was I couldn't take it anymore with her damn temper. She's got a really bad temper. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, she may have a bad temper. I don't know. But then again, he triggers her. He has a very nasty attitude. Ed has an extremely nasty, nasty attitude, and he likes to hit below the belt. And like when he talked about how that's why your mother abandoned you when Liz had come over to, take the last of her stuff out of his house and she was there with her mother. And the way that he was attacking her mother, telling her that she was a bad mom and that she didn't raise Liz. She did a horrible job in raising Liz. He has a nasty, nasty attitude that triggers her. Right. And so I don't think it's Liz's temper. It's not like she's one of those people that just goes off for no reason. You can just be like, wake up in the morning and she's just already on 10. No, she has a bad temper because he's got such a horrible, horrible attitude towards her. So Liz talks about some woman hugging up on Ed. I don't know exactly when this occurred, what time frame she's referring to, but I don't know where they were. I don't know if this was in San Diego or if this was in Arkansas, but she saw some woman hugging up on Ed somewhere. And Ed said, well, it wasn't just one woman, it was actually three women. And I wasn't even paying attention to who the hell they were. So then Liz says, when Sean asked her, well, did you think that something inappropriate was going on when you saw this? And then Liz says, no, because Ed couldn't pay a woman enough to touch him. And I'm thinking, okay, Liz, if you're saying that, Ed just don't got it like that and that he couldn't even pay a woman to touch him, why are you bringing it up? Why is this something that you feel like you have to mention if you feel like there was nothing inappropriate going on and that nobody wants to touch Ed? So why are we talking about it? Do tell. Then Liz's mom comes out. So the first thing out of her damn mouth is, Ed, I still want to kill you. And so the question was to the mother, do you think that Liz has a temper? And the mom says yes, but only when she's triggered, the temper will come out. So then Ed claims that the mother, Liz's mom, had warned him about Liz's deep emotional issues, her anger issues, her bad temper. He says, you even warned me about her. You even warned me and told me that, she had all these, horrible emotional issues and anger issues. And the mother denied it. She was like, it's not what I said. What I told you was that, the bitch can come out in her if you push her buttons. That's what I told you. She does have a temper when you trigger her. When you push those buttons, yes, you will awaken the beast in her. So Angela says that deep down she knows that Liz still loves Ed. And Liz was like, I'm not going to deny that, yes, I have love for him, but I'm not in love with him. And I don't have any, delusions about getting back together with him. And she was like, no, I'm not in love with Ed. Liz says that she has found someone new. She's in a happy relationship now. She's with somebody else. And this somebody else is somebody named Jason. So then Jason comes out on stage and sits down. She moves to go sit next to Jason. And they talk about how wonderful the relationship is. And, Jason tells Ed that this is the last time he's ever going to disrespect Liz again, because the next time he tries to disrespect Liz, Ed is going to have to deal with him. Ed, was like, good luck with all of that. One day you're going to be sitting where I'm sitting here. Once she's done with you, you're going to be sitting where I'm sitting over here. So Michael tells Ed, look, she's found somebody else. You can't do nothing about that. So just move on, Ed. And then Angela tells Michael, shut the F up. So then they ask Liz, so what's the sex life like with your new boo compared to Ed? And she's like, our sex life is on par. It's wonderful. And I don't have to fake it. They ask about their future. What do you see in your future? She goes, well, I'm really not sure because we've only been dating about 4 months, but they do plan to move in together soon. And the mother was singing Jason's praises, talking about how respectful Jason is to her. When they all went out to dinner, she said that Jason waited until she was seated before he sat down, I guess, showcasing how Ed has no manners. And so everything was wonderful. I liked Jason. I did, but I kind of saw like a hint, like a tiny little smidge of maybe some controlling behavior, but really, I can't say that because we didn't see him enough for me to come to that conclusion. But something about Jason, it just kind of, I was just, let's just say this. I'm not blinded by love like Liz is. I'm not blinded by love. I'm not saying that Jason's a horrible guy. He was really sweet. He seemed really respectful, very respectful to her mother, all of that. But y'all, I just kind of saw a little hint of something, but let's just move on from there. Next, we're going to talk about is Gino and Jasmine. So Jasmine starts off with how controlling Gino is. She has no voice in the relationship. It's Gino's way or no way. And of course, Gino denies it. He says, no, I'm not controlling. Now, Jasmine, okay, so then they talk about, okay, part of her talking about how controlling he is, she talks about how, she can't go to the gym whenever she wants. She can only go when Gino is willing to drive her to the gym. So she's like beholden to him and his schedule. So somebody asked, well, Jasmine, don't you drive, or don't you know how to drive where you can take yourself to the gym? And Jasmine was like, I am a nobody in this country. And then Gino said, but you passed your driving test. Like, what do you mean you're a nobody in this country? It was like she was saying that kind of like to say that for whatever reason, I don't know, Gino or the United States government, I don't know, the state of Illinois or wherever they live is denying her rights to drive. I don't know what she meant when she said, I am a nobody in this country. And then Gino was like, well, you passed your driving test, or at least the written part, I think. So Gino said that he filed, because they asked Gino, where are you on the filing of her paperwork to change her or amend her status? And Gino said he's already filed for her permanent residency, and the next step will be for him to file for her work permit. And Gino says she's not appreciative of any of the things that I'm doing for her. And Jasmine said, oh, so I'm supposed to say thank you all the time? I'm supposed to like bow down to you and say thank you for all the little things that you do? And then everybody else on stage was like, but Jasmine, you do have to acknowledge that it's a lot of work because he's doing this alone. He's not doing this with an attorney. So it's a lot. Everybody was like, it is a lot to go through the whole immigration process and the filing of the documents and all of that. It's a lot. And I don't think that Gino expects her to bow down to him and say, oh, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for filing my papers. Thank you, sir, for. I don't think he's expecting that. I think he wants it to be a little balanced, where she's constantly criticizing him and putting him down and emasculating him. She's like, I think in his mind, he's like, once in a while, can you give me a pat on the back for the good things that I've done? Can you acknowledge that I am trying to help you, that I am trying to do something positive for you, instead of just constantly berating me and putting me down all the time? So I think that's where he was coming from. Jasmine questions, well, why did okay? So then she also says something like, well, look how long it's taken him. It's taken him 7 months to do this. And everybody was like, yeah, Jasmine, it does take a long time because it is a lot of work. So Gino's cousins come out. They completely threw him under the bus. His cousin Dana and his wife. They completely threw him under the bus. They were completely on Jasmine's side. So they talk about, because when they're talking about the controlling, him not taking her to the gym, the cousins were like, yeah, he doesn't do that for her. He's got all the time in the world because he's retired, but he doesn't do anything for her. He doesn't take her anywhere that she wants to go. And she's really dependent on him. And he refuses to do anything for her. Jasmine says, then they talk about intimacy, or the lack of intimacy in their marriage. So Jasmine says it's been 8 months since they've been intimate. Jasmine says that um, and she says, I'm not even really talking about, like necessarily having sex with him all the time. I don't even get affection from him. You can be intimate without sex. I don't even get affection from him. I don't even get the lovey-doveys, him physically showing me that he cares about me or loves me. I don't even get that from him. And she also mentions how she has never seen him naked. Everybody on stage was completely aghast. They're like, what? You've never seen your husband naked? She's like, no, I have never seen my husband completely naked. So she says that, obviously they've had sex before, but she says that he'll only get naked like halfway. And then when it comes down to it, he has to have the lights off, turned off. And so she's never really seen her husband completely naked. And somebody was like, y'all have never even taken a shower together? And she said, no, never. And that's bizarre. That's bizarre. But that's the kind of bizarre that she wants to deal with, because she's been with this man all these years. It's something that she has put up with all these years. So it's the kind of bizarre, crazy stuff that she's willing to put up with. Um, I don't know how anybody else, how any other woman would want to stay in a relationship like this. So I don't get it. I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't understand at all how you could be fighting for a marriage that where your husband doesn't want to sleep with you. You haven't seen your husband naked. I'm not understanding, like, why she's in this. Is she in this just for immigration purposes? That's why she's put up with so much nonsense? Or does she really love this man? And I don't know. It's very strange. So Gino, of course, he's like, that's not true. She's seen me naked. She's lying. And then he says, he blames the fighting for the lack of intimacy. Gino says that Jasmine will purposely start the fights, which then turns him off, which then leads to them not being intimate. Jasmine blames the lack of intimacy on his porn addiction. And she says that she found out that he was she went through the search bar or the search, I don't know what you call it, the history, yeah, the history of his browser, and she found out that he was searching for adult content that featured a woman that he used to pay for sex. He used to pay her for sex, and this particular woman, she found out through his browser history that he's been looking for her adult content, and everybody was like so shocked. I wasn't really that shocked about it. I was like, okay. I mean, he looks at porn, and I mean, he wants to look at porn of a woman that he used to sleep with or that he paid to sleep with. I thought she was going to talk about something really sadistic and really like vile. The way that she built it up, the way that she was like, oh, and y'all would not believe what kind of porn that Gino is into. Y'all will not believe it. So I was even like covering my ears because I really didn't want to hear, but I wanted to hear. And the only thing she said was, oh, he's looking up pornographic material of some woman that he used to pay for sex. That's not good. I'm not saying that it's a good thing. I can see how she was hurt, but didn't the build up did not lead to what I thought it was going to lead to. But anyway, whatever. So, like I said, I've heard rumors that she's with somebody else, and now I heard rumors that he's with somebody else. So, all of this is null and void. All of these arguments about the lack of intimacy, and it's null and void with Jasmine and Gino. That's all. I really was not impressed with part one of the tell all. Because these are the things that we've been hearing about throughout the years, not just throughout this season, throughout the years. We've been hearing about this. We've always known that Ed was a nasty human being. We've always known that Jasmine and Gino had intimacy issues for whatever reason. But you know what? I think Gino's real issue is probably ED. Maybe it's erectile dysfunction. And I know a couple of Viagra's could fix that, but I think that's probably what his real issue is. Because I remember when he had gone to see her in Panama during the early days, he had to pack that Viagra with him for anything to happen. Or maybe he doesn't want to take the Viagra anymore because he's so turned off by her, he doesn't even want to take the Viagra. I don't know, y'all. I really don't know, because the truth ain't in any of these people. We can't get the truth out of Gino. We can't get the truth out of Jasmine. We can't get the truth out of Ed. So who the hell knows what the hell's going on? I don't know, but I was not impressed with part one. Hopefully part two is a little bit better. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video content. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.